welcome to Becoming the Community CEO. I'm your host, Roberto Candelaria. And over the past several years, I've partnered with leaders around the world to build highly engaged and profitable communities. Through this journey, I also discovered the characteristics that these communities had in common, and today, I'm here to share them with you. Together, we'll explore conversations around community building, partnerships, leadership, and profits. These are the core areas to becoming the community CEO. And now, let's jump into this week's episode. Well, hey, welcome back to the show. And today's going to be a little bit different. And what we're going to do today is celebrate my dad's birthday. So this week, my dad would have been 74 years old. Now, my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2015. Now, as he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, we really didn't know much about the disease, but what my dad knew was that he was going to kick it in the butt, as he would say, and that he was not going to allow a diagnosis such as Parkinson's to keep him from living fully. And listen, I tell you, my dad, he lived, he played, he loved, he laughed, he did everything, right, to the fullest until his dying day. And one of the things that he did not do is he did not allow Parkinson's. He did not allow a diagnosis to define him or even actually really slow him down. And so today, as we share here today, you know, my dad would have been 74 this week, and he died at the age of 71. And in his 71 amazing years of life, he was a son, a brother, an uncle, a husband. He was an engineer. He was a business partner to many. And even within our church, he was an elder, a deacon, a teacher, a mentor. But to me, listen, he was just dad, right? And of all the roles that my dad got to have in life, I love that he was not only my dad, but that he was my friend, and that he was, in some cases, my business advisor. And like, y'all, listen, those of y'all that know me and my dad, y'all know, we did not always see eye to eye. But what I tell you is, he is the man that would always tell me exactly what I needed to hear and not what I wanted to hear, even when I did not want to hear what he had to say, and especially when I did not hear, when I didn't want to hear it, y'all. So today, I'd like to share with you 6 lessons that my dad taught me. This was actually written for his eulogy, and I'll be sharing some of those lessons here today. And I am so grateful for you being here and listening to these today. And I hope that these lessons that my dad passed down to me about life and about business and just about relationships in general will be able to help you as well. So lesson number 1 is to be happy now. And I don't know about you, but so many people, including myself at times, I find that we allow ourselves to believe that when we have something, this one thing, right? Whether it be a car or a job or $1 million or a house or a certain relationship, whatever it may be for us, right? Then everything will be okay. And then all of a sudden, everything's going to be okay. We're going to be happy. But what happens, and I don't know if this has happened to you, it happened to me before, is that when we get there, when we get that thing, we find that there's something else missing. And one of the things that I appreciate about my dad is that he taught us that it's okay to have goals, that we ought to have dreams, that we ought to have really, really big dreams, and that while we're in pursuit of those goals, while we're in pursuit of those dreams, to be happy now, to enjoy the things that we have, to enjoy the things that I had, right? And to live in the moment and to enjoy life more. And my dad, my mom and my dad were prime examples of this, whether it was like a quick weekend staycation, whether it was an impromptu trip to the movies, or simply being able to sit down at the local diner and have a cup of coffee and have breakfast with my dad and my grandpa. Whatever was going on in life, he found a way to be happy now. And I want to invite you to find a way to be happy now. Lesson number 2 that he taught me was that the more you invest in the right things and the places for both your business and your life, the more you'll get out of it. And what's important about that, right, is that it's not just business, but also life. And he taught us to always invest in people and relationships. And so, whether that be a hug, a friend, a walk, texting somebody these days, or sending somebody a DM on Instagram or on Facebook Messenger, spend more time building relationships with people and not just building stuff. So many people showed up at my dad's funeral and showed up at the services there to celebrate because my dad and my mom built genuine relationships, right? And just as we've carried that on in our family and in our business, we have people that have worked with us as clients now since like 2010, 2011, and are still with us to this day. And so invest in relationships, invest in people. Lesson number 3 is make mistakes, y'all. Mistakes are the best way that we can learn as long as we learn. So if you've been around and if you're just hanging out and are going to start hanging around more, my family loves to eat, and it's a good thing because I love to cook. Y'all don't know how much I love to cook. And growing up especially, I got to hang out in the kitchen with my grandmas, and we would make cookies and we'd make tortillas and we would make Sunday dinners. And there would be times like Sunday dinner, you'd be trying to cook for 30 people. It was a lot of stuff, right? But one of the best things about cooking with my grandmothers is that I got to learn how to cook for myself. And it's a skill set that I still get to use to this day, even though they've all ascended, right? But here's the thing. If you've ever spent time in the kitchen, you've probably made a few mistakes. And I can tell you from personal experience that if you love to bake, especially chocolate chip cookies, y'all, baking powder, baking soda, they're not the same thing. They're just not the same thing. And I share that story about cooking because my dad was a patient teacher, right? My dad was a patient teacher. And he would give this look, and then he would hold up one finger, the pointer finger, right? And he'd hold it up in the air, and you knew that my dad was about to speak. The finger said it all. It was an invitation for us to stop, to think, to focus, and to know that there was about to be an opportunity to learn because Dad always allowed us to learn. He allowed us to make the mistakes, and he enjoyed the time he had with us even when we made the mistakes. Lesson number 4. Help me with the logic. Y'all, I don't even know how many times I heard this from my dad. And I know that the people that worked with my dad in business, whether it was in the businesses that he had or that he was a mentor to their businesses, or those that served with him on the boards and the councils that he served on with churches and nonprofits, they heard that phrase, help me with the logic. And here's the thing. Everything doesn't have to be logical. It's actually quite the opposite. And my dad invited us into a place where we could think about the decision we were making and understand why. And this has helped me more than anyone will know. Business and life, y'all, because I can be quite emotional. And sometimes I can make emotional decisions. And so I think about that a lot. Like if I'm about to make a decision, I hear my dad saying, help me with the logic about what is the logic behind the decision I'm about to make. And even if there's not logic, as long as I understand the decision that I'm making and actually thinking about it. Lesson number 5 here is that the secret to real happiness is loving yourself. One of the things that my dad did very well was making sure that my sister and I knew what true happiness is. And to me, part of that is happiness is feeling good about who you are. It's about feeling loved and worthy in our own eyes. And yes, y'all, while my dad taught us about that, and my mom and my grandparents encouraged us to that, there was a little bit of therapy that helped with that as well. I truly believe that a lot of people have therapy to be able to help us on our journey. And so it's about feeling loved. It's about being worthy in our own eyes. But my dad also had this way of expressing true and unconditional love, even if he didn't agree with what was going on. So learn to be happy with yourself. When we allow ourselves the opportunity to love ourselves, to be happy with ourselves, only then, I believe, can we truly go into relationships, right? Whether that be a friendship, a business relationship, a romantic relationship, where we can truly connect with people and allow them to love us, allow them to be able to see us, and for us to actually be able to love them back. And I think that that's something that's so important, right? And, loving yourself is so key, right? And number 6 here is believe in something and fight for what and who you love. So many people, especially right now where the world is, there's just so many people that are looking for things to be easy. And I truly don't believe that everything in business or life is ever all truly easy. Now, I do believe that there can be ease, but ease is different than easy. And there are things in this lovely human journey and human experience that test us and shake us. And there's relationships, and for some of y'all, there's some situationships that allow us to reflect on what we really want, what we want for our community, what we want for our business, what we want for our life, for our families, what we want for our relationships. And my dad used to always tell us, do it, and do it all the way, or you'll never really know. And as you listen to this episode today, you may have an idea. You may have a dream. You may have the idea for your next community or your next business project, or something that you just thought might be really, really fun to do one day. And like Dad, I want to invite you to just go and do it. You see, from working in the fields as a migrant worker, picking carrots and cotton and onions, to serving our country in the United States Air Force, to being one of the first in the family to graduate college, to become an entrepreneur, my dad lived full out. And it would be a lie if I told you that I didn't ever think that my dad was giving me a hard time, because y'all, there were times I thought he was just out to get me. But let me tell you, as much as I thought he was giving me a hard time sometimes, I realize now that what my dad was really doing was teaching me to live. He was teaching me to be a man. He was teaching me to be a leader. And they are lessons that y'all today, I can see oh so clear. Oh so clear. And so I know that I and that my family members and those that knew my dad have achieved some of their dreams because of my dad, because of his love, because of his wisdom, because of his strength, and because of his guidance that he shared with each of us. And I hope that today, those of you that stuck around to listen to this episode, I hope that these lessons will be able to help you on your journey, help change your life, and that maybe you'll be able to reach one of your own dreams because of my father's lessons. So thank you for joining me for this episode. Thank you for helping me celebrate my father's legacy, my father, what would have been his 74th birthday. And I hope that you have an amazing day, and y'all go out and live that dream. Well, howdy, and thanks for listening to another episode of the show. Hey, if you'd love to stay in contact with us, visit robertoteaches.com to connect with me on social media, learn about our Facebook groups, and other places that we can connect to help you on your journey to becoming the community CEO. And if you're loving the show, do me a favor. I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast listening platform.